Hi, this is the Black Mormon Reader, and I will be reading verses from the 52nd, the 53rd chapter of Alma. And it came to pass that they did set guards over the prisoners of the Lamanites, and did compel them to go forth and bury their dead, yea, also the dead of the Nephites who were slain. And Moroni placed men over to guard them while they performed their labors. And Moroni went to the city of Melech with Lehi, and took command of the city, and gave it unto Lehi. Now behold, this Lehi was the man who had been with Moroni in the more part of all his battles, and he was the man like unto Moroni, and they rejoiced with each other's safety. Yea, they were beloved by each other, and also by all the people of Nephi. They were good friends. And it came to pass that after the Lamanites had finished burying their dead, and also the dead of the Nephites, they were marched back into the land of Bountiful. And Tecum, by the orders of Moroni, caused that they should commence laboring and digging a ditch around about the land of the city of Bountiful. And he caused that they should build a breastwork of timber upon the inner banks of the ditch, and they cast out dirt of the ditch against the breastplate of timbers, and thus they did cause the Lamanites to labor until they had encircled the city of Bountiful around with a strong wall of timbers and earth to exceedingly great height. And this city became exceedingly a stronghold ever after. And in this city they did guard the prisoners of the Lamanites, yea, even within a wall which they had caused them to build with their own hands. Now Moroni was compelled to cause the Lamanites to labor, because it was easier to guard them while at their labor. And he desired all his forces when he should make an attack upon the Lamanites. And it came to pass that Moroni had thus gained a victory over one of the greatest of the armies of the Lamanites, and had obtained possessions of the city of Melech, which was one of the strongholds of the Lamanites in the land of Nephi. And thus he had built a stronghold to retain his prisoners. And it came to pass that he did no more attempt a battle with the Lamanites that year, but he did employ his men in preparing for war, yea, in making fortifications to guard against the Lamanites, yea, and also delivering their women and their children from famine and affliction, and providing food for their armies. And now it came to pass that the armies of the Lamanites on the west sea side, while in the absence of Moroni on account of some intrigue against the Nephites, which caused dissension among them, had gained some ground over the Nephites, yea, insomuch that they had obtained possession of a number of their cities in that part of the land. And thus, because of iniquity amongst themselves, yea, because of dissension and intrigue among themselves, they were placed in the most dangerous circumstances. And now behold, I have something to say somewhat concerning the people of Alma, who in the beginning were Levites, but by Alma and his brethren, or rather by the power and the word of God, they had been converted unto the Lord, and they had been brought down to the land of Zarahemla, and had ever since been protected by the Nephites. And because of their oath they had taken from taking up arms against their brethren, for they had taken an oath that they would never shed blood, and according to their oath they would have perished, yea, they would have suffered themselves to have fallen into the hands of their brethren, had it not been for the pity and for the exceeding love which Alma and his brethren had for them. And for this cause they was brought down into the land of Zarahemla, and they had been protected by the Nephites. And it came to pass that when they saw the dangers and the many afflictions and the tribulations which the Nephites bore for them, they were moved with compassion and were desirous to take up arms in defense of their country. But behold, as they were about to take up their weapons of war, they were overwhelmed by the persuasion of Helaman and his brethren, for they were about to break their oath which they had made. And Helaman feared lest by so doing they should lose their souls. Therefore all those who entered into the covenant was compelled to behold their brethren wade through their afflictions in the dangerous circumstances at this time. But behold, it came to pass, they had many sons who had not entered into a covenant, and that they would take up the weapons of to war to defend themselves against their enemies. Therefore they did assemble themselves together at this time, as many as were able to take up arms, and they called themselves Nephites. And they entered into a covenant to fight for the liberty of the Nephites, yea, to protect the land unto the laying down of their lives. Yea, even they covenant, they never would give up their liberty, but they would fight in all cases to protect the Nephites and themselves from bondage. Now behold, there was 2,000 of these young men who entered into this covenant and took their weapons of war to defend their country. And now behold, as they never had heretofore been a disadvantage to the Nephites, they became now at this period of time also a great support, for they took their weapons of war, and they would that Helaman should be their leader. And they were all young men, and they were exceedingly valiant for courage and also for strength and activity. But behold, this was not all. They were men who were true at all times of whatsoever things they were entrusted. Yea, they were men of truth and stubbornness and soberness, for they had been taught to keep the commandments of God and to walk uprightly before him. And now it came to pass that Helaman did march at the head of his 2,000 stripling young soldiers to support of the people in the borders of the land on the south by the west sea. And thus ended the 28th year of the reign of judges over the people of Nephi. And on this note, until next time, this is the Black Mormon Reader.